there's a part of me that really doesn't want to do this intro and just no comment post a video of me crying and like processing my emotions, rolling around on the floor. But I do, like, I don't know. I don't know. It's the internet. If I don't know. Like, I wish there was a way for me to, sorry. I wish there was a way for me to give context for this, or to, I don't know, or maybe it doesn't need the context. Maybe I'm just like, but I don't know, there's a part of me that wants to clarify the purpose of a video, or whether that's just to me or to an audience is yet to be figured out. But I don't know, I think, to me, like, I don't actually know when I started doing this. Like, I definitely remember doing this very, like, deliberately, and trying to, like, not shame myself for it. In the fall of 2022, after I got my heart broken, there was something very, something very deliberate and empowering about filming myself unraveling and filming myself crying and sharing that in some capacity. But there was also still a lot of shame there, not so much about the crying, but about my desire to be witnessed in those emotions, in that grief, in that heartbreak. I think that actually hits the nail on the head for a lot of things, like that I have this, I don't know, innate, and it's probably not just me, it's probably humans in general, but I can only talk about my own experience, like, with certainty, and even that is questionable. But yeah, so I feel like I have this innate desire or need, even, to be witnessed and to be, I feel like every time I say this now, I want to qualify that I'm not special in this, but I feel like I already said that. So again, to tell it to myself, when I'm talking about my own experience, I'm not saying I'm special. I'm not saying that I'm the only person who is experiencing this, and I'm like, I don't know, and that's why people should pay attention to me or whatever. I'm just saying that I am a person experiencing this. And yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I still, I think I'm the, I think my decision to, or not even just my decision to actually give this YouTube thing a try is kind of a marker of how far I've come in, I don't know, deconstructing and dismantling the shame around wanting to be witnessed and like just being a person that takes up space in their humanness in ways that oftentimes don't comply with some sort of norm or idea of how we're supposed to conduct ourselves and ask for attention or be witnessed or show ourselves or whatever. So I don't really care about that anymore. Like, I don't think there's like inherent shame about it. I think there's just a worry. I mean, there's probably still some shame about it, like, because it's not that easy, but I think the more relevant aspect or fear or feeling or whatever is, I don't know, the worry that I'll be misunderstood, that people will think I'm disingenuous because there is something weird about, or like something weirdly performative, or at least an implied performativity, or like, I don't know, not just implied, but there is something performative to the action of like, so I'm unraveling, I'm crying, I'm having I'm having a day, I'm having a lot of feelings, I'm crying, I'm whatever, and then having this like thought, or like kind of looking at myself from the outside while I'm crying, like a little bit, and having this impulse to get my phone and put it up somewhere and click record and then continue crying. Like a lot of the time it does like take me a while to get back into the crying that feels, or I don't know, I feel like, I don't know, sometimes sometimes it's like, sometimes I don't think as much about it and other times I do, but there's, I don't know, there's something so soothing, there's something really soothing about like being able to even like witness myself, like even, okay, so I don't know, I don't want to make this too long because I'm also just holding my phone and it's, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know, I've been having a lot of grief and sadness and emotions and frustrations and anger and just tears about my loneliness and like feeling lonely and like lots of meta feelings about that, and then feeling, I don't know, like then and feeling like it's my own fault or whatever, and like and today, right before I started bawling, I don't even know if I was or wasn't already like bawling. I don't know, but I don't spend that much time on Instagram anymore. But I don't know, like in the last couple of weeks, I've gotten in the habit of, I don't know, at least checking it in my browser for a couple of minutes a day, and because I haven't done anything about that yet, because I haven't muted them or unfollowed them or whatever, my ex, I don't even know if that's like, but like, yeah, the ex that broke my heart in 2022, who I don't even know if you need all of that context anyway, but like I broke up with them after trying to be friends, or like being friends for 1.5 years, and then me realizing that actually that's not what I wanted, blah, blah, blah. And having to do the really hard thing of kind of breaking up with someone that I just like really wanted to be around all of the time and just wanted them to love me anyway. So since I haven't really been active on Instagram, I didn't really see the need to, I don't know, cut any like digital cords with that person. But because I've been kind of back on Instagram like a little bit over the past couple of weeks, I have been seeing them in my feed. Like they show up as the first circle in my in like the story Instagram stories thingies, because I used to not stalk them, but like, you know, low key just like I was a bit obsessed with them, like as you are, as you do. Where am I even getting at this? But yeah, so that, I think that made me emotional, and kind of added like a story in my head about, or like made me think about my loneliness and how, I don't know. And then I was also thinking about something else, or like, I don't know. But mostly I think I've been relating my loneliness a lot to a traumatic relational experience. Let's put it that way. A traumatic community, relationship, friendship experience where I experienced emotional abuse or manipulation and betrayal and all kinds of fun stuff. And and then I like scrolled down my Insta feed for a second, and someone was talking about like this study that apparently has been done but like not published yet, but where they were talking about how, or like, I don't know, I feel like the hook of that video was that betrayal is one of the leading kind of causes for PTSD in autistic people, and just hit so hard, like, and I feel like it broke something open, like, because I've been the last couple of days, or yeah, weeks, since I handed in my BA thesis, I've been struggling with kind of what that means for me now, or like I noticed that I suddenly had all of these expectations on myself that, like, now that I managed to do this, absolutely like ignoring everything that it took, like that it took me so incredibly much more. That was not a English sentence, but like it took so incredibly much. I know that it took me so much more time and work and energy than than it did most people. Like I can't look inside of other people and stuff, but I just know what it took to get here, and that like I needed everything that I had, and I could have needed more in order to get this done. Anyway, so totally ignoring the conditions like that, like, or like what it took me, there was something about managing this task, or this thing that had me get it in my head that now I'm a normal person, or like now that I did this normal thing that other people do, I can expect myself to do all of these other normal things that other people do. And that stressed me the fuck out, and it's still stressing me out. And anyway, so like coming across this video where like, and I've I've been hesitant. Like I think in the beginning, or like in the first half a year or even a year after that trauma happened, I think I was a bit more comfortable talking about it as trauma. But I also, because there was no other way for me to explain it, or I don't know, but I've gotten less comfortable labeling it that way, and not just to other people but to myself. Like I've been, like I have this imposter syndrome about like how bad this really was and how much it affected me, and just how, yeah, I don't know, like I'm noticing that I'm like that this voice is creeping back, like because because of what I've been expecting myself to do and what I've been working on in the last couple of months, which was also like, I also had a really, there were so many good parts about this, but that made me, but now I'm now that I'm thinking about it, it really kind of reinforced, or not even reinforced, reintroduced, like, this notion that I'm actually just lazy, and that I should be doing more, and that I'm just, and that I'm just lazy, or kind of, or a coward, or just like not doing enough and just being too comfortable, or whatever. And like started defining myself again, or like started, yeah, I feel like I started believing again how I need to be doing more in order to, like, I don't know, deserve. I don't even know. I don't know. It's just like the world is the world, and I want to do my part. And I think it's really difficult to, like, just because I haven't, and that's been like my issue for as long as I can remember, that if I see, if I learn about something, or if I see that something would be needed and helpful or something, and it doesn't exist in that way, and like, and I try, like, I immediately, I feel so responsible for doing that thing. And I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's good in a way. Like, I think it's important that we care, and that we feel responsible for each other, and at the same time, I think I just take on way too much responsibility, whether that is because I was, like, I don't know, whether that is because of autism, or because of like things in my childhood, or a combination of both. Like, and like, I don't know, I also talked to my mom for a really long time on the phone on Thursday, and I actually, like, we talked about a really difficult and painful time in our relationship that we have been kind of scooting around, or just like not really been talking a lot in the last couple of years, even though we've started, I don't know, just talking a lot more honestly with each other. But I don't know. So I was talking about that, and like kind of sharing a lot of things with my mom about like how, like, kind of how I understand myself, also in terms of childhood stuff. And like, I don't know, it's just talking to her about my thesis, to be like, I started talking about my thesis and trauma, and I don't know, it doesn't really matter, but basically, the thing that does matter is that, like, like, my parents, like, so in that conversation, I told her that I wanted an apology, like, that for the longest time I had wanted an apology, and something like that. And the thing is, like, even if even then, even me saying that, I mean, I did say it in the past tense, but also, like, I feel like that was the most vulnerable I was able to get, kind of explaining to her why I had a hard time connecting with them, because I was expecting an apology. And the only thing, like, and even then she couldn't manage to actually apologize. She just said that she's been so, like, she's felt it, like, yeah, she's felt so sorry, or like she's felt bad. Yeah, that's what she's felt bad about all of this, and just never stopped feeling bad. But that's not an apology, right? Because an apology would entail like taking responsibility and accountability for your actions, and that's like, and that's not, and I think that's just not where she's at, or where my parents are at, because that would mean, like, to them that would mean that they did something wrong, which is also not what apologies are about, I think. But yeah, like the thing that I actually wanted to get at was that was telling her about having too much or she was telling me about how when I was a child, like, no one ever asked me to, like, I think I talked about like codependent, my codependent relationship to the world, or how like I always understood my role in the world as, or like my worth being connected to what I can do for other people, and that's always like that. For the longest time, that was my primary need, basically, that like trying to make everyone around me be okay so that I could be okay. And and kind of in response to that, she told me about how when I was a child, like, no one would ask me to take care of my brother, or like take on this responsibility or that responsibility, but I always did it on my own. Like, no one asked me, but I did it. And that was kind of like her way of like, and at no point, like, and I didn't intervene in that, because that's just like, I felt that she was already kind of like on her limits and stuff. But like, she doesn't have like, and it wouldn't have been helpful for me. I don't think it would have been helpful for, if I had then responded with, well, as my parent, as the adult, it would also be your responsibility. It would have been your responsibility to take those things away from me, because as a child I can't actually make those decisions. And I didn't tell her, because that would have made her feel bad, and that would have made her close up, and I didn't like. So, but yeah, I don't know, it's just, the reason why I said this is because, like, I don't know, I also, there's this other autistic content creator. I'm gonna find her, and then, or them, I don't know, I'm gonna find the person and then link their Insta or whatever. But yeah, they talked about kind of their own like observations when it comes to, yeah, they talked about their observations, or like a theory, and how like autistic people take on too much responsibility, or like when like, because we're like trying to solve problems, and if there's no one else to take it, like if no one's taking accountability for something, then like the autistic person does it, or something like that. And I don't know, but yes, I don't know how I feel about like that kind of. I haven't really thought that much about how, whether I agree with that theory that is inherently about autism. Um, in general, just because I don't like. I don't know. I think for a while it was really helpful for me, and I still sometimes, I don't even know. I have a difficult relationship with thinking of myself as autistic, not just because I was misdiagnosed, meaning that like when I went to get my autism diagnosis, the the psychologist or diagnostician, whatever, literally said that I'm not autistic enough to get a diagnosis. That like basically she acknowledged that like I'm on the spectrum, but I don't struggle enough to get a diagnosis. And the reason, or like, and like, me not struggling enough is like not based on anything that I said, but just based on like, you're too good at making eye contact and having relationships, basically. But yeah, so like, it's not just because it's like, so my difficult relationship with being autistic it's probably I don't know, it's not unrelated to that experience, but I think it's a lot more about my kind of my feelings about diagnoses in general, or my feelings and thoughts about like categorizing people as neurotypical versus neurodivergent in general, because I just don't think that that's like that makes sense. Like that's like diagnoses are a tool, but they're not really like real, like I don't know. As someone who has like I don't even before I started becoming a student of astrology in the last year or so, I even before then I understood astrology as kind of like a like I don't know, opposing, or like as being kind of like a demonstration of the variety of human experience, and that like I don't know. I've been talking for 26 minutes and I did mean to do that, but that's how it goes. That's how we do it here, right? I just come on here not preparing anything and feeling like I want to say something for 5 minutes, so I don't set anything up properly and just hold my phone in my hand, and that's when I have like thoughts. So anyway, and now I don't even know if I want to share the video of me crying and rolling around on the floor. Maybe I'll include that in some other video, because I don't know. This is I don't know. I'm gonna wrap this up because I do have to pee and I have to get my laundry. But yeah, I don't know. I do, after I'm finished with this degree, if I'm gonna finish, I honestly at this point I'm not sure. Like I'm just trying to sit with the no. I'm trying to sit with the feeling of no at the thing that I still have to do to finish this degree. But if I do finish this, or like after whatever, like I do want to try and get back into, or make more, just put more effort into making videos and just like actually use them as more of a creative outlet and not just sharing thoughts, like, because I think that those are two different things, or like not entirely different, but like I want to make something like that, something aesthetically pleasing, and not and like something that works on multiple levels. I want to I want to really make use of this medium, and like and all of the things that can be transported through this medium, that cannot be transported just by me simply talking, or there's like I don't know. So what was the point of this video, now that I'm not adding 9 minutes of me crying and rolling around on the floor? I don't know. I think it's something about just still it's still about processing emotion, I guess. It's still about processing grief, and just being with myself, being with the pain, the grief, the betrayal, the parts that haven't gotten enough care, and that's just, I think, what I'm trying to practice, and what maybe got a little lost in the last couple of months of writing my thesis, because I couldn't, because like there were so many ways in which like I did find ways to still make it work for me, but the basis of that was doing something that I actually, like, I had to so often do something that I really didn't want to do. And it's more complicated than that because there was a part of me that wanted to do it, otherwise I wouldn't have done it, you know, but like there was maybe astrology is helpful for that. Like someone yesterday talked about how like the difference between like a no, like a Uranian no and a Martian no. And that, I don't know, like I don't know exactly how they phrased it, but I think something about that was helpful to me in terms of kind of, so I used to, I don't know, I don't think I used this metaphor in a while, but I used to explain how like my mood in terms of there's like I used to explain my mood or my emotions, or I don't know, maybe used to is not the right, but yeah, like there's like that mood and emotions are kind of like the weather, like how there's a weather and there's climate, right? And like maybe there's like and the weather is like a daily event. It shifts a lot. There's a lot of fluctuation and it's very like fleeting and kind of circumstantial, and yeah, it just has a lot of fluctuation and there's a lot of like constant change, and it's not as kind of so like there are emotions or moods that are more like the weather, and then there are emotions and moods that are more like a climate. And so, and I think the thesis, like the emotions and feelings I had about the thesis writing process was like I had to ignore my weather a lot of the time. Like, and even maybe even like I had to ignore my weather so much that I also had to ignore the climate to some extent. But because things are paradoxical, right? And like, so I had to ignore kind of like my daily or more acute and like short, I don't know, like, yeah, the more acute, the more immediate emotions and needs in order to accomplish like the like something bigger picture, like in order to like go through like a developmental stage or something, or like in order to do this, yeah, in order to grow, you know, like a lot of the time you have to like you know you have to do something, or you're like to get to move on, to move past this, and in order to get this done, you have to do a lot of convincing yourself, or like there's a lot of I don't know I'm losing myself in this, so I'm gonna stop talking now because otherwise I'm gonna pee my pants and I don't want to do that. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't need to formulate a conclusion to this, so I'm just gonna go, even though that's kind of yeah. Okay. Maybe maybe I can like hold my pee for like, I don't know, like 5 more minutes and pull a tarot card. to end this with. And I'm not going to interpret it. Like, I'm just going to pull one and rate it and leave that for me and anyone who's watching this. Yeah, just like something. Okay. So this one kind of fell out. It's the Queen of Wands. I've pulled this before and I was really excited the last time I pulled it. I'm not entirely sure anymore what it was about, but I think I don't know. Look at this card. It's amazing. Okay. So I'm going to read what it says in the guidebook, and then I'm going to just get my glasses, and then I'm going to go. Okay. Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is, the Queen of Wands knows their own power. They wield it with a tilt of the chin, the curve of a wrist, the flick of an eye. Sly, subtle, and sparkling. They're a magic worker, a performer, an artist transmuting feeling into art, into magic. They have followed the fire to its source and found that its source is in them. In readings, the Queen invites you to tap into the deep well of your passions, trust your creative channel, and let the magic flow. This Queen is sometimes called the Witch of the Tarot, and not just because they have a black cat. A witch can be many things, but they are usually independent, self-reliant, and daring enough to do whatever the hell they want, even and especially if it goes against the status quo. So be as different, risque, weird, or taboo as you want, the Queen says, and be proud of it. Be confident and be yourself, and your desires will be drawn like a magnet to your magic. Okay. That's it for today. Sending you much love and hugs and everything you need. I'm not gonna drink some water right now because I have to go pee first, but you go drink some water or go pee, whatever you need. Bye.